Welcome, bienvenidos. This is Roxana for Avid Diva, and today it's an interesting day because I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. And as I was filming a video for my actual vlog, I came up with this idea, which, of course, as you guys know, I'm going to make an English version now and the Spanish version as soon as I finish with this one. So, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about antisocial personality disorder. And before I start talking, I want to let you know that I am not an expert. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not even a social worker. What I am is a person that have known some antisocial people in my life. And I believe there have been 3 family members that have either married or are narcissists. So it's kind of hard not to know what you're dealing with when you've lived with people like that for your entire life. And yesterday I was having on my other channel, Metamorphosis Rocks, I was having a conversation with a friend by the name of Sin City Renee, who's also here on YouTube. You can look her up. And we were discussing recent events in social media and how they affect the smaller YouTubers like us. But more importantly, as mothers ourselves, what advice we would give to these people that have some sort of antisocial behavior. And I was thinking about, this morning I was thinking about the fact that I read a book, and I keep in mind I didn't read the whole book. I just saw the beginning, I don't know how you call it, the back, you know, where it tells you who the author is and what the idea behind the book is. And this person had written an entire book analyzing CEOs of, I believe, 40 of the big top 500, Forbes 500 companies or something like that. And the person was talking about their theory that most of the people that were selected to be CEOs of the companies were selected based on their antisocial personality disorder. And because the point of the book was that there's a lot more people with either sociopathic behavior, narcissistic behavior, even psychopathic behavior, that are not in jail because they never killed anybody. And I started laughing to myself when I read that. I said, no, they haven't killed anybody. They just killed their careers. But the reality is that it is very true. You have people in positions of power that happen to be living with a condition that makes it impossible for them to empathize, which for people that always think in the short term is a great idea, because since they have no ability to empathize, they can make decisions without thinking about how it will affect their employees. And that's always good when you're thinking in short term. But when you're thinking in the long term, and this is something that companies keep forgetting, your employee is the first customer you're ever going to have. And if you don't make that person happy, nobody else is going to be happy. For one thing, if they deal with customers on a daily basis, they're not going to treat the customers very nice. I don't care how nice you are. If you work for a company that doesn't treat you right, you're not going to give them 100%. You might think you are, but you're not, because you don't believe it yourself. And that's, at the end of the day, that shows. If you work for a retail organization and they pay you peanuts, and we all know that retail organizations in the United States typically pay crap. And more importantly, they pay you under this ridiculous basis of salary versus commissions, which means they establish a commission. Let's say the commission is 7%. And in order for you to be out of the red, for lack of a better word, you have to sell, to give you a silly example, you have to sell $1,000 to make $100 in your paycheck. Well, if you have an $800 day, you're already under. They're still going to pay you the $100, but according to their numbers, you owe them money. So what happens? You have a $5,000 day, and depending on how much you owe the company, you end up not getting your commissions because they have to pay back whatever you owe from the other days. That's how it works in corporate America. And if you don't believe me, go and ask people in some of your favorite retail stores if that's how they get paid. If they're being honest with you, they'll tell you. So the thing about it is that people that have antisocial personality disorder of any kind, they make decisions like that because they don't care about the employees. They care about the bottom line. And for people that have stock options on these companies, that is fantastic. But again, it's a short-term provision to a long-term problem. If you really want to know why the retail industry as we know it is dying, that's part of the problem. They tend to make decisions that affect the employees. I'll give you the best example. Stupid Thanksgiving. Sunday. Working on Sundays. I understand the logic behind the working on Sundays. What I don't understand is why it ever happened. Because here's the thing. I have heard from pretty much every conservative pundit the idea that the reason why this world is like it is because in the United States of America, is because we don't have prayer in the classroom. We don't bow down to the national anthem. We don't do the Pledge of Allegiance, whatever it is. Nobody ever talks about the fact that we don't have a day when families can be together and go to the park and go to the beach and hang out together and nobody else is working unless it's a restaurant or something like that. There is no reason why non-essential services work on Sundays. There isn't. Sunday should be the day when you get a pizza and watch movies with your family if it's a rainy day. Or go out to the beach if you live in a beach town. Or go to the woods, or hang out with your friends and your family. That doesn't exist anymore because more often than not, one or both of the parents are working on a Sunday. And that's not even considering people that are single parents and have to work 1 to 2 jobs to make ends meet. We don't pay people enough, and then we don't give them enough days off, and then we're wondering why people are so stressed out and so sick. Really? Do you really think that the ridiculous rise of cancer and chronic pain conditions and depression are just poof, came out of thin air? No, all the stress we're living, human being was not created to have stress 24 hours a day. Stress was supposed to help us in certain situations. It was not supposed to keep up with us for 2 or 3 months at a time if you ever get a break from stress. And that is something that we need to consider, my people. I know I'm not giving you any answers. The truth is, I don't know what the answers are. I don't see any time in the future where somebody will get smart and say, you know what, we need to stop opening on Sundays. Not even when most churches have service on Sundays. So you would think that it would be beneficial for churches to make sure that stores are closed on Sundays so that people would actually go to church. But they're not going to do it. As far as whether or not it's an antisocial person, the one running your ship, it's very easy to figure it out. These people tend to be very charismatic, but they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not legitimate. They're not honest enough in their, you know how you can tell. You can always tell if a person is doing something because it comes from the heart, or if they're just doing it because they want something from you. And you can tell with your bosses too. And at the end of the day, you have to decide what kind of company you work for. Do you work for a company that takes care of their employees and realizes that their employees are their first customers and they need to keep them happy? Or do you work for a bunch of crazy people that don't care about you, complain if you miss a day of work or can fire you because you missed a day of work because you have to be there, or you have to actually pay for your doctor not only to see you, but you have to give them $20 extra so they'll sign a piece of paper so you can miss work. I'm going to have to separate this into different categories and go one by one and probably make a video out of each one of these things that I think corporate America is doing wrong, and we, for some reason, we keep making these choices, and it cracks me out because some of my friends say, well, you can't say that. Yeah, I can. I'm not talking to anybody in particular. There are companies that are really good to their employees, and I'm not talking about a place where 1 or 2 people, because you're always going to have a person that's going to complain. I'm talking about policies that you know that they're thinking of the employees, even if some of the employees don't appreciate it. If you pay a person a decent salary, yes, there's always going to be somebody that thinks they should make more or they should have more benefits or whatever. But at least you're making an effort. If you give people good benefits, right now we have this whole thing about Obamacare being gone or not being gone or whatever. Think about it this way. If your company wants to keep you as an employee, don't you think they'll offer you a better option for healthcare than what's out there somewhere else? It just stands to reason. Another option is paying for your education or your child's education. I used to work for a college at one point, and I remember if I wanted to, or if my daughter would have been of age at that point, she could have gone to that school and it would have been all paid by the school. I wouldn't have to pay a dime. So there are companies that care about you. You just have to find the good ones. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.